Coming to you in 3, 2, bring us in.
Hey guys, it's Blaidan. Welcome to the Graveyard Shift. Feel free to grab a caffeinated beverage of your choice as we try to stay awake as I yap about my favorite speed game for the next hour and a half, Titanfall 2. This game is chock full of really dense movement sections, and it's all momentum based, which is super sick. Has like quite a big bag of tricks, some pretty iconic ones like super fastball. You might have seen the Mogul Moves tweet about it, the clip. It went pretty viral, I'd say. But yeah, this game is really movement intensive, so I'm gonna be locked in most of the time. You'll probably see it on my face. I got a bit of a gamer lean, but to help with commentary, I got a couple friends with me. If you want to introduce yourselves.
Hey y'all, I'm Lord Fluffy. My claim to fame is I started running this game in 2020 and I'm currently in the top 20. So that's my claim to fame for this game.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Sway. I was a second place runner for a long time. I'm a bit washed up now, but I really love this game and I'm so excited.
Alright, if that's everything, I'll get ready to count down as we hop straight in here, because it is pretty cutscene heavy for this first little bit. So if production's ready for the countdown, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so welcome to Titanfall 2. This is a futuristic science fiction first-person shooter developed by Respawn Entertainment. You may also know them for developing Apex Legends, which actually exists in the same universe as Titanfall. So a lot of the stuff from Apex actually originates from Titanfall, which is pretty cool. Another mandatory fact that I'm contractually obligated to say is that this runs on a heavily modified version of the Source engine. Whoa! Which means we adopt a lot of the old Source type of movement, like air strafing from Half-Life and Portal, if you've seen those games before. You're going to see it immediately coming up in this intro tutorial section if you want to take it away, Fluffy.
Yeah, so right away you're going to be seeing the two most important things. This is bunny hopping and air strafing. We're using a version of bunny hopping known as slide hopping because the slide mechanic in this game gives us lower friction, making it easier to bunny hop. And those two things together will be significantly important throughout the course of the run. We're going to try for our first big trick here. This is a pseudo wall run skip. We get a wall kick right off of that the moment the wall run timer hits. And if we had managed to slide under there, we would have saved a couple seconds, but lost a little bit of time. No big deal, though. So we're currently in the Gauntlet. This is a training level where we are in a simulation. So because we're in a simulation, we can't die. Taking advantage of that, we're going to pick up this rocket launcher and then do a little bit of a trick here. This is a reload skip. So as these weapons fall down, we reload with one gun and then swap to the other gun, which skips the long reload animation that we're forced to go through. Hit all the targets and move on. We're now going to take advantage of damage boosting. Because of the fact we can't die here, we are free to do the riskiest damage boosts that we possibly can. We're going to take some frag grenades, throw them in optimal locations so that we can get as big of a boost as possible. And we're going to keep zooming here as we go for wall kicks across each of these walls. Go for frag boosts when relevant. We get up to 96 kilometers per hour. Finish the gauntlet, start the gauntlet again, and then get back in here, which skips some dialogue and allows us to progress through to the next part of the level. And at this point, we're done with the training. Like, at this point, we just have to hit some dialogue options, and then we're watching some cutscenes. And yeah, that's the opening level, done and dusted just like that.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Blaidan. Yeah, it really is the calm before the storm. You get a nice little prep with some crazy movement in the Gauntlet, and then you get to relax a little bit. Then it just goes all gas, no brakes.
You may have seen Cash Mayo's like 10-second run of the Gauntlet, which is pretty sick. We did in like 12 seconds, which is pretty good. So we'll take that for the full game run. Here's a funny trick we'll try and go for. We have to call down this Titan, and if we like land on it right as it spawns in, then it comes in at a funny angle, but it's pretty hard to hit, so we'll see.
Top 3 hardest tricks in the game I've never hit in my life.
Oh, I think I missed it. I can't remember the last time I've hit this. I think like the last 3 streams, I just never hit it anymore.
Yeah, you gotta be over top of the icon about like around 5 seconds left from the countdown for it to work.
I usually try to jump at like 8 seconds, but I don't know, it's very precise.
If you call your Titan down too fast there, you just die. It's just over for some reason.
Yeah, BT just explodes for some reason.
Yeah, he just blows up. Gotta love the Source engine.
Alright. But as we come out of this ending cutscene of the tutorial level here, just one little thing we're going to do, and that's as the screen fades to black, we're going to mash the spacebar. This accomplishes two things. Number one, it gets through the menu as fast as possible, but number two, the menu actually stays on the easy difficulty selection a little bit before it goes to the recommended difficulty selection. So if we mash the spacebar quick enough, we get through the menu quick enough and select the easy difficulty, which we run on easy because it is, you know, the least likely to just randomly die to something shooting you from across the map difficulty, which makes a lot of tricks way more viable. So here we go, mashing the spacebar, get the easy difficulty, and now we are done with the tutorial and moving on into the first real level of the game. This is BT7274. So we started off in the Gauntlet with a wide array of parkour movement that we get access to as a pilot. The pilots have access to a helmet and a jump kit, which allows them to do all that parkour stuff. But as we start this opening section of this level, we're not going to have any of that, because in the lore, we are a militia rifleman, which is like a grunt in the militia, the military organization we are a part of. So we're only going to have really access to that bunny hopping and air strafing right out of the gate. Thankfully, we can start out of the cutscene with something known as a super glide. So as the cutscene ends and we gain control, we immediately hit the jump and crouch inputs, which causes us to shoot up to like 36 kilometers right out of the gate. And it's a short gameplay section. It's going to be over before you know it, and Blaidan's going to do a couple things, including a frag boost, to speed things up a little bit. And that's a good time to talk about the fact that frag boosts and damage boosts in general are now risky. Because we were in a simulation and we couldn't die, we could take risky frag boosts. But now that we can die, we want any and all damage boosts to put us outside the kill radius, but give us the biggest possible boost. So, as we come out of this cutscene here, Blaidan's going to pull off the super glide and go for the movement. I'm going to let Blaidan focus up here just to make sure the frag pull is good. So, good luck, Blaidan, on that.
This frag boost is like particularly frustrating because in this section there's like a whole bunch of grunts running around. There's like this drop pod that comes crashing in. There's like rubble and slopes everywhere, so getting like a proper frag boost can be a bit inconsistent. But I do have like a decent setup personally, so we'll see if I hit it. Nice, okay. And then we just carry this speed to the cutscene over here, and we got more waiting. Everybody's favorite.
Tiny little section of gameplay sandwiched between two cutscenes has changed so much in the last year and a half.
I have auto-load cutscene on. All right.
We'll run with it.
Yeah,
we're running with it. So that wasn't technically supposed to happen. I'm going to explain that in a little bit. But for now, we basically skipped a bunch of lore that we gained control of a pilot and all of the Titan and a bunch of pilot movement stuff. So now we have access to all of our parkour array stuff except for the double jump. And movement mistakes in Titanfall 2 can be corrected with a double jump pretty much a lot of the time. But for this first section, we don't have access to that double jump. So all of our movement has to be very, very purposeful, lest we have an errant jump somewhere and fall into a pit. So right here, you're going to see an example of taking advantage of the way like walls work, and the fact that you can get a new wall run on a wall that's on a different angle than the one you jumped off of. We're going to go for another frag boost here to cross Death River.
Aptly named so because it is an incredibly hard section for new runners who tend to just die a lot. So, Death River.
Yeah, picked up a DMR sniper rifle there. That'll be relevant for later. And as we come up to the last little hill here, as we climb up it, we'll get access to a double jump, so we'll have the full array of parkour movement. So a good thing to mention now that we're getting into this this ship here is what happened there with the loading of a later portion of this level is something known as the 18-hour bypass. It's a community-made injection into LiveSplit that injects the time that we're skipping through that cutscene into LiveSplit, but allows us to progress forward by loading a quick save. And basically, it's just a quality of life thing to not have to sit through that cutscene. We're going to go for something known as a slant boost here, which transfers all of our vertical momentum into horizontal momentum. Hitting that at the right point, perfect. You can use that to cross the gap here, take a frag, cook it, and throw it at those three grunts to take them out immediately so we can activate this cutscene of putting this battery into BT. BT needs 2 batteries to be fully functional, and we need him for progressing the game. Now we're going to head into the most difficult section of this level, which is Ravine. Ravine is a chain of wall kicks in tight corridors over and over. Start off with a frag boost into a wall kick. 64 is phenomenal. Wall kicks you can treat like Mario 64 wall kicks, but instead of only having 1 frame to get a speed boost, you have about 5 ticks. So this section, you're going to be chaining wall kicks over and over, building up the speed, crossing over this big gap here.
Touched 90 for a second there. That was huge.
Yeah, 90 Ravine is great. It should be stated that if you go too fast here, you can soft lock the game, which is why you saw Blaidan pull and nade relatively late into the line that he took.
Yeah, there was an old strategy that we used called BBRJ that we no longer use, number one because it sucks, but also number two because it can make us go too fast on soft lock pretty consistently.
I love me a good casual BBRJ slander. That's so based.
Yeah, BBRJ can go die. Never again.
Alright, so here we pick up the second battery, and we're going to go for another slant boost here. We're going to transfer this and try and go for, and use this DMR we picked up earlier in the level now to save about a second on a kill strategy here. So we get on top of this archway, we aim up, shoot this Spectre right there, take it out, and we pull a frag to try and take out the 3 Spectres over here. Once they're dead, one survive. Ooh, still alive over there.
Yeah, thankfully,
What, master difficulty or something? Nope.
Thankfully, it's functionally a second sniper rifle for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the EVA 8 is pretty much the weapon of choice across anything we need to use in this run, because not only does it have really high DPS, it has way more range than you'd expect a shotgun to have. It is extremely strong. But now that we've put in the second battery and BT is fully powered up, we enter into BT and enter into something known as the Titan tutorial. So I'm going to take a quick second to point out the fact that the HUD is looking a little bit different from vanilla. You might see a kilometers per hour thing as well as CKF. So we have something known as the community menu mod that injects a few quality of life features into the game, not only to help us with information that we need to know whether or not a trick is going to work or whether or not we need to adjust our routes or anything, but also CKF fix the way inputs are registered in Titanfall 2 in a way that takes a version of wall kicks that we're using consistently called crouch kicks and effectively removes the RNG from them because of the way that inputs are registered in Titanfall 2. But now that we're done explaining that, we're going to go into Titan tutorial at this point. We are going to put up our Vortex Shield. This is going to introduce us to the abilities of the first loadout of Titans that we get. We can get multiple. This is Expeditioner. We're going to take the Vortex Shield and try and kill all the Spectres on the left side of this archway. This will cause more to spawn in the middle. We take out all of those, then take out the ones on the right. This will cause us to progress to the next phase of the Titan tutorial immediately. And now that we have access to the rocket pod, this part is much easier. We just need to get some lock-ons, reflex at certain times, and once we get these enemies down to 1, BT will say align, and then we have to get the enemies down to 1 once again, and once it's down to 1, we can now move and enter the final part of the Titan tutorial, which is effectively like a mini boss fight, where an enemy Titan will drop from the sky and try and fight us. But we have a wonderful strategy to take out this Titan very quickly, referred to lovingly as the double no you. So we're going to stand in a specific point, and we're going to activate an E-Smoke and look at a way that manipulates them to move in a way we want. Put up their Vortex Shield, we'll put up ours, and the bullets that they've reflected back at us will reflect back at them with the double no you, take them out, and that Titan is down and dusted in no time flat.
Little Uno reverse card.
Giving up audio cue here. Alright, and that is the first real level of the game, BT7274 done. We're going to go immediately into the next level, Blood and Rust, and start off with a high-octane strategy called Visenbark, which is made possible by the advent of crouch kicks. So we're going to start off with some frag boosts here.
Alrighty, and yeah, good old Visenbark. But yeah, so Blood and Rust is the first level where we will really see how important the abuse of lurch is. So lurch in this video game is every time after you jump or double jump, if you press a directional key, you will be lurched in the direction of the button you pressed. So functionally, it lets us take tight corridors like that without losing speed, which was not possible before we found that. If you're familiar with Apex Legends, you might be familiar with the term tap strafes. Tap strafes are a form of lurch abuse. It's functionally when you're strafing left to right and you tap W, that is a tap strafe, and that's what we'll mainly be using to go around corners. Difference between Apex and Titanfall is you cannot bind the lurch or anything like that to the mouse wheel. So functionally, all these lurches and tap strafes we're doing are manual. Blaidan is pressing all of these inputs, and sometimes you need to stack multiple lurch inputs at once. So it really deepens how directional changes work. You know, right here you're gonna get quite a lot of spams around the corner, and it takes us into this section, which is actually where we kind of figured out what tap strafing was, because we had a competitive multiplayer player, Reginels, come into the community, and he got through this corridor extremely fast, and we didn't know how, and we analyzed his inputs a bit, saw he was tapping W all crazy like, and now we kind of just use it everywhere. That is the quick little TLDR. And that's not really even touching on no lurch strategies, which is when we like forcibly like circumvent getting lurch at all. So that's a story for a different time.
Yeah, but right now Blaidan has been absolutely flying through Blood and Rust here. This is one of the most difficult levels in the game, and Blaidan is making it look easy right now. We're going to come up to a niche movement tech here known as a bump launch. If we crouch in a corner like this and spam jump inputs, we can ascend upwards in that corner extremely fast. Now we're going to come up to Sludge Skip. This is a huge skip that saves like 3 to 5 minutes that goes by in a flash. So right now we're manipulating some dialogue options to keep BT in place. We use a frag boost here to get underneath that gap as fast as possible. Come over here, press this button. We need to press this button to avoid soft locking the level. Now we come over here to this gap in the invisible wall, pass through it, and then we embark into BT through that gate, which allows us to skip this entire forced fight section otherwise. And now we go into pilot transition, another way that we skip using BT by getting a frag boost, getting up to ridiculous speeds, 70 kilometers, 80 kilometers is ridiculous for this speed.
Wild.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's
a really solid Blood and Rust so far.
Yeah, you didn't even get like one hop on the sludge. You just went straight to the cutscene.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
Awesome.
Now we are entering the Kane fight. This is a fight that normally in lower level runs you'll use the tone loadout for, but by doing Visit Bark at the start of the level, we skip the tone loadout, so we have to do this with Expeditioner, which is slightly slower. But thankfully, doing all the pilot strategies that we did makes up for that time lost. So we start off by locking onto the Brute and firing all of our missiles into it, and then we want to use our main weapon and try and shoot the hatches of both the Brute and Kane, the boss fight here, because the hatches function as a critical hit spot. Once we have an 100% meter on our core meter, we can use our core and try and shoot all of these bullets into the hatch for those critical hits. You can think of cores as ultimate abilities in something like Overwatch. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. That is a wonderful, beautiful Expeditioner Kane. And now that we've interacted with this cutscene, we're on a 1-minute timer to the end of the level. That was a phenomenal Blood and Rust. Excellently done, Blaidan.
For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I guess to follow up more on some of the movement tech, we mentioned earlier wall kicks were a thing, where you kind of just jump off a wall immediately to get speed from it. We're kind of lying though. We aren't technically doing wall kicks. We're doing something called a crouch kick, where we actually jump and crouch at the same time when we do the wall kick. So to explain what's happening, it's basically an upgraded wall kick. And that's because when you crouch on a wall like this, it actually pushes you away from the wall a little bit. And so if we do that at the same time as a wall kick, it's adding that tiny little boost on top of that. And we just get an extra tiny little boost of speed on every single wall kick we do. And that was a huge movement revolution back, like, I guess like 2 or 3 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
It feels so recent, but like it was actually kind of old.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about that, there's an incredible video by Ludwig all about that. And now, as we come into Abyss 1, you know, the game is called Titanfall, but you will notice we haven't really been in our Titan much, which is generally how the game has been trending as we get faster, especially now with the advent of crouch kicks. We tend to route out BT whenever we can, just because it's so much faster to move about him. And in this level, it's specifically faster because it allows us to get out of bounds, which Fluffy can explain for us here.
Yeah, so originally we knew of an out-of-bounds method to skip needing the requirement for BT in this level, but because we didn't have the ability to get to the spot extremely fast, it just ended up not being worth it. But with the advent of crouch kicks and advancement in player skill, this out-of-bounds route where we now come here, start on this wall, wall run on it, then the moving platform moves us and clips us through the wall behind us, allows us to get out of bounds, and we get to that point extremely quickly. And again, with advancement in player skill as well as the advent of crouch kicks, we now get so much speed that this upcoming section, a door that we would normally need to kill some Titans to open up, we can just slide underneath it here and hit all the triggers that are required to continue the level while out of bounds. Come down over here and hit a quick spawn death warp, which puts us back in bounds. And now we finish the level as we would normally by heading into this little building over here, pressing a button, and then leaving to go back to BT.
Oh, you threaded the needle there.
Yeah.
I just mantled a pixel on the floor there. What the hell was that?
Gotta love Titanfall.
Yeah, so quick thing there, pressing that button on that platform kills the def plane here, so we can just fall into the end level trigger, and that saves a couple seconds. And yeah, that's Into the Abyss Chapter 1. This is a phenomenal level that has advanced so much over time. And this is Into the Abyss Chapter 2, and it starts off really cool. We use some platform momentum conservation to get an immediately big boost here that we can carry all the way through to a small vent here. And it absolutely pains me to say, but none of this movement mattered, because unfortunately Into the Abyss Chapter 2 is an auto-scroller.
But you know what, chat? If you're a glitch hunter and you want some money, if you figure out how to get us through this, you can earn yourself thousands of dollars. All right. Functionally, this is like the crown jewel of like what we need to skip. If this gets found, the run will just be elevated so much further.
Yeah.
It's gonna be incredible once we can skip it. RTA.
I guess to explain like why this level is an auto-scroller, you might have seen so far that like the gimmick for this entire mission is that we're moving across like this huge assembly line that's just like building houses and stuff. But as you saw on those earlier platforms back there, they move like pretty slow, and we have to ride it to get to the end of the level, which is why this level is an auto-scroller and is super slow. So if we ever find a way to skip that, that would be amazing. But this level is sealed pretty tight in a lot of places, so it's tough.
Yeah, quick thing to note here.
If you haven't seen this game since the last time it's been at a marathon, we do have a really special trick coming up that really spiced this level up in the last recent years.
Yeah, a quick thing to note is we just went through something known as Told Spice route. This is a route found by Told Spice that goes around the entire level and skips the much more difficult platforming sections that are way more riskier to get to the last section of this assembly line, well ahead of the assembly line's first platform reaching here. So predictions for all y'all in chat, red versus blue. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take out all the enemies except for 2 specters here. And then we're going to hack one of the specters and turn it blue, and now it's on our side, and it's going to fight the other specter, the red specter. So get your predictions in chat. Who do you think is going to win? Is it going to be red? Is it going to be blue? Or is it going to be a draw? That is a potential option.
One more grunt I gotta clear out here. Okay, here we go. I'm personally a blue fan. I'm always rooting for blue, so let's see what happens here.
I'm a contrarian, so I'll go for red.
Yeah.
I believe it's going to be blue.
We got a mid-range fight here.
No.
Ooh, some shots are coming in. Red's already getting good shots in.
Red is shooting the ground. You aren't playing Hanzo, guy. You gotta shoot the guy.
Lock the fucking, please. Please lock it.
Blue staggers.
That's a big shot.
Oh,
blue is down. That is going to be the W over to red.
Let's go.
All right, none of this actually mattered for the record. This is just something we do to pass the time while we're waiting for the level to get here. You can see on that platform to the right, that's the first platform that reaches here. It reaches here at the same time every time after we load into level for the first time. And we just have to wait for it. There's nothing we can do about it. So anyway, now that we've got this platform here, though, we get to set up for one of the coolest tricks in the game that we love it, that we call railgun, and I believe Blaidan can take away the explanation here.
Yeah, so we explained earlier that this level is an auto-scroller, but I'm going to put that in quotes because we can save time on this last little part of the level. You'll see that the assembly line is riding on like this rail here, and it'll speed up and slow down in certain segments, and then on its rail up ahead, it goes like 300 kilometers an hour, and then it slows down before the end of the level. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump off while it's on that segment, and we're going to try and keep speed all the way to the last room of the level, and then go from there. And that's going to save like 10 to 12 seconds if I do it right. So I'm going to make a safety save here just in case I mess this up, because you do lose a lot of time if you mess this up. But here we go, Rolling. I already messed it up. There you go. So
yeah,
you can see how difficult this is.
It's in the game.
Yeah.
A little bit of a weird setup, but I believe.
Yeah, we bump on this wall. All right, not quite there, so we're going to try it one more time. The ideal situation is we get like somewhere in the 250 range off of this jump here. That's much better. So we're going to try and take a wall bump off of this wall here to redirect our
I didn't even get a wall bump. That was odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not quite.
This is usually pretty easy. It's just messing it up for some reason.
Put your hands up, chat.
There we go. This looks
There
good.
we go.
Pull this across.
a little sketchy. Nice.
That was really
okay,
sketchy.
we're still making it. Yeah, all right. So now we're going to take advantage of something I mentioned earlier with the fact that you can do a new wall run anytime you touch a wall that is not on the same angle as the previous wall. So we use that and have used that to tap strafe around these corners and climb up to right about here. Then we take this moving platform, jump on top of it, and then we use that to get on top of the scaffolding. And now we've hit a trigger that's required to progress to level. So what's going to happen here is there's a bunch of parts of this dish that are going to be put up on top of this wall. When this sequence finishes, the next sequence where these parts are going to immediately be taken off of the wall and begin to be built into the dome above us. And this is the reason why Railgun is a way to save a lot of time here, because this effectively allows us to basically remove any and all excess wait time and make it the truest auto-scroller possible.
That was the
All in one,
hardest trick in
baby.
the game.
Ooh.
Hardest trick in the game. Just kidding, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So right there was dome skip. It wasn't actually anything impressive. There's literally just a gap in the terrain there that you can just walk right through and go out of bounds. You can do this in your casual playthrough. And then we navigate around to right here, because what's going to happen is the dome assembly sequence is going to finish, and then it's going to teleport us off in the distance to another completed dome somewhere off in the distance. And where we're standing right now is directly above the end level trigger that is always loaded in. So once we get teleport, we fall into the end level trigger and end the level immediately. This is the point where I mentioned the end level trigger always being active is the reason we're looking for a skip for this level. Glitch Hunters, we have an entire channel in our TF2SR Discord where information and whatnot can be used to maybe find a skip for us. Make one that we have RTA viable maybe, and it's $2,000. $2,000 plus for the bounty. Just letting you know on that front.
Alrighty, this is one of the sleeper coolest levels in the game, and it has progressed an insane amount lately, especially with like all the, like, I should say IL only strats, but when I say IL only, it's really Blaidan only. You know, when Blaidan first came into the community, I quickly started calling him the Terminator, because it is just unreal what he's about to try. I can't believe a human has actually pulled it off, but it makes me really stoked to see how far the game is going to come even a year from now.
Yeah, so right here is a routing called the Sept Caverns, where we route through there and then jump over this railing to get on top of this wall. We're then going to take a wall kick off of the blue wall here. This allows us to gain full control because of the wonky way that platform conservation works.
That's tough.
Ooh,
Okay. So we're gonna get a BT here. Typically we would try and keep pilot speed all the way through here, but we're just gonna play it safe. This is gonna make the next trick a lot safer though. We're gonna do what's called Pilot Ash Trigger Skip. So there's a boss fight coming up later in this level, and it has like a huge cutscene trigger that actually like initiates the boss fight. So to get around it, we need to do a lot of work. And first step is climbing up this wall right here. So make a safety save here.
You'll see Bum Blanche return. We did it in Blood and Rust, and a little bit in Abyss 2. Shoot us all the way up.
I got
really
bumped
fast.
away there. That was odd.
You're too good at bump launching.
Yeah, usually bump launches are pretty clean because you get like flat walls, but with the rocks and everything, it's really tough to get clean bump launches. Okay, here we go.
Alright, here we go. Alright, chat. This is inhuman.
Good. Not enough speed there.
Yeah, 55, yeah. We're
I'm
gonna
gonna
try
take
this a few times
attempts,
because
yeah.
this is actually the coolest thing in the game and it's worth it. Nice.
That's
barely enough
now
speed
going to
is tight.
Oh. No shot.
Oh,
Not quite.
So close.
I'll give it one more try. You can see the vision though.
This will be tough.
It's not quite enough. We'll do one more try.
One more.
We'll send it. Why not?
Really fast.
That's not enough speed. Okay, we're just gonna drop down. This is fine.
It's crazy how high up you are.
But like ideally how that would work, you can kind of see the vision. We would land on the other side there, and that leaves the door open here. So this door closes after Ash walks through. But now we just kind of have to fight her. Psych though, there's like a million ways to skip this boss fight. So if you want to explain that, Fluffy, I'm gonna lock in here.
Yeah, so the end level trigger is always loaded in this level, so if we can just reach that, then it's fine and dandy. We don't have to worry about fighting Ash, and that's one of the things that Pilot Ash trigger skip allows us to do, is just, you know, get past not watching the cutscene and get through the door to the end level trigger. But even with the door closed, there's a way to get past it with the expedition loadout called E-Smoke Ash Kit. We come into that corner, jam ourselves between the truck and the wall, activating E-Smoke causes BT to back up into the door. We embark into BT, that causes us to clip through the door, and now we disembark here, pull a frag after a crouch kick, and now we just spam jump up of this hill, hit the end level trigger, and finish it without killing Ash. And that is Into the Abyss, all done and dusted. And next up is Effect and Cause. Now, if you've played this game casually, you remember this level. And if someone has played this game casually and you haven't, they've told you about this level. Quick thing, what Blaidan just did there is went back to the main menu and loaded into this level from the mission select. Whenever you reach a level for the first time, that mission is unlocked in mission select. So that's why we allow runners to do that. And the key reason that we do that is because the strategies that we've been using have skipped multiple Titan loadouts that we do need for later strategies in the speedrun. So we do this because loading from mission select will give us those Titan loadouts that we skipped, which will be important for the strategies. It does also reset our pilot loadout, so to be something for the level. Good frag, very nicely there. Missed the wall kick, but that's okay. So we don't have the optimal loadout currently, but thankfully a great aspect of Effect and Cause Chapter 1 is that the weapons that we want are just sitting on the ground anyway, so we don't lose anything on that by reloading in this level.
And don't mind that guy right there. That's Major Anderson. He's just hanging out. Don't ask how he got there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in lore, we were supposed to rendezvous with Major Anderson as part of our operation orders. We just took his helmet because he doesn't need it anymore. Don't worry about him. And now, unfortunately, we have entered an in-game cutscene that's about an hour long. You know, we're going to be sitting here for... It's not actually. It's a couple minutes long. But we're going to use that time, as you saw, to pick up the EVA 8 as well as an R97. This is going to be the weapons we'll take forward into future levels. And now we're going to set up over here as this in-game cutscene plays to set up for a little trick. So there's a gap in the building that we're currently beside that we could theoretically climb up to, but the problem is that there's invisible walls in the way and we can't get past them without the use of... that's very sus. We can't get past them without the use of a zip line that BT throws up there.
Jesus.
So unfortunately, we can't speed up this level currently with any known strategies because we're forced to wait for this in-game cutscene to finish and BT to throw the pole that has the zip line into the hole in the building so that we can get through it.
Yeah, this level, all of the movement in this level is so incredible. It's just kind of ruined by being split in half by a big old cutscene.
Alright, so we're going to watch here, and as BT raises his hand, we're going to start a wall run. There we go. Then we're going to jump off the wall, and we're going to try and grip the zipline slightly beneath the top part of it so that we don't turn around, and we get into the hole as quickly as possible. And now we're in a little bit of a waiting section, so this is a good time to talk about the next trick coming up, which is FTL. So there are these laser grids in this level and the next level, as well as later levels, that we can... Anytime you run into them, they will shoot you out backwards at very high speed. Funny little glitch there. I love how that works. So we're going to try and take advantage of that damage boost from the laser grids on purpose to shoot ourselves out at high speed through these scripted time swap sections in a way that we can just absolutely nail the final part of this level. So here we go. I'm going to let Blaidan focus up.
Really tight. Oh. Luckily, the checkpoint here is really good.
Times, yeah.
That looks good.
Come on.
Nice.
Yeah, that's enough speed to make it.
I go so fast you can see out of bounds at the end there, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
absolutely. Auto for that strat. Really one of the coolest innovations in the game. I love it so much.
Yeah, that was FTL, otherwise known as Faster Than Light. But now we start into Effect and Cause Chapter 2. This is the other half of Major Anderson. We're going to take his wrist-mounted device, and then he's going to slap his own butt. Don't worry about it. But thanks to that, we get access to one of the best prompts in video game history, which is press input to time travel. In this case, middle mouse button.
Oh, wow, that was such a good nade.
That wallbang frag is so sick. I love it.
Yeah, so Effect and Cause Chapter 2, we now have manual control over those time swaps. So we're going to be having to use, alongside all the additional movement we have to do, we have to make sure we're time swapping at the right time, because an errant time swap can absolutely cause you to lose all your momentum or a bunch of speed. Like right here, for example, just time swapping a little bit early causes us to have to, you know, redo all of our movement to get into that elevator. But now we come over here, and although this used to be one of the most beloved ILs, over time, these sections have kind of made the public opinion of this to be slightly lower. I still think these levels are great, but these are Anderson dialogues. Basically, Anderson's ghost in his helmet is, you know, he's talking to us, basically, and these are 2 sections that we're forced to listen to in order to press through it. So what we do is we stand in a specific spot, and with a specific voice or audio cue, we set up a pre-speed setup to get through the door that opens immediately at the fastest speed possible, and we transition into the second one. Very nicely done. And now there's going to be another pre-speed setup here, and these pre-speed setups range from, you know, very easy, simple to do ones to the most unhinged things you've ever seen. So Blaidan's going to go for one of the middle ground ones here.
Yeah, and everything after this section, we generally want to keep this speed until a little mini quick time event, and it is extremely hard, so we're going to let Blaidan cook.
That's a very good frag, so we're going to try and take the speed and transition as much as we can around this corner. Okay, I got caught up, so that's no big deal, but we just need to get into this next room, which is Hell Room.
Yeah, that was tough. I got like a wall up there to mess up my spacing.
First frag death of the run, not bad.
Not bad.
It can't be stated enough how difficult every frag boost can be. They are all lethal.
Okay, I bonked something there. That was weird.
Titanfall geometry, baby. Gotta love Respawn Entertainment. Here we go.
Yeah, so this is Hell Room. A very difficult section here. We're going to go for a zipless strategy here. Nice frag. That's enough to pass through. We're going to go for something called Snuggle Slide here, which there's no time to explain how this works. There you go. Absolutely zooming.
Oh, I bonked the railing there. Oh, that's fine. So ideally, you just carry that speed all the way to the end of this hallway.
Yeah,
there is
land in here.
Movement. It's all good.
Yeah, there is no time to explain how that works. For the record, if you want to know how exactly that works, or like a way to understand how it works, I recommend watching Going Faster When You Shouldn't, and other platform shenanigans, a Video Vice Week, epic member of our Titanfall community. But that is going to lead us to the end of Effect and Cause Chapter 2, and we're going to enter the shortest level in the game, which is Effect and Cause Chapter 3. This will go by in a flash, so pay attention so you don't miss anything. We immediately start off with a frag boost. Because we don't have a lot of time to build up speed for this section. We have to put our data knife, which is a little hacking knife that we stab into things and it hacks things for us. Don't worry about it, plot convenience. And we're going to immediately turn around for a damage boost off of this fan. We're going to try and take all of that speed. That's still pretty good. 70 is still really good. And we transition all that speed into this trigger here, which puts us into a time stop section. And from here, we're going to go for something known as ship skip. It's a trick that saves about 2 to 3 seconds, and if you fail it, can lose you up to 15. So let's see how it goes.
At this point in time,
going to go to the left side, go for a kick. Didn't get it.
So
we're going to have to, yeah.
This jump has been giving me a lot of trouble lately. This might work. Okay, I'll have to take the
mantle.
That's
still
fine.
Decent. You ideally want to carry the speed all the way through, but that's still really good.
Yeah, we come over here and we interact with this arc, this little thing called the arc, underneath the thing, which just warps us up to where the cutscene wants to put us. And that is the end of the level. At this point, we're watching a cutscene at the end of this. And I just have to say that it is honestly very funny because there's no time to explain like so much stuff, which is generally relevant to the nature of this speedrun. Like the lore here is that the Arc is a power source for a super weapon known as the Fold Weapon, which is a weapon that's capable of bending space and time and blowing up planets. To put it bluntly, it's the Death Star. And there's no time to go into like you know, what you're doing here, and as well as like all of the different movement tricks. There's a 45-minute tutorial that talks about like all the movement tech by Brian Otto that we have, and it doesn't even cover all the stuff now because of new stuff that's been discovered, as well as like a 10-11 page glossary Word document. There's so much stuff, we couldn't talk about everything, but we're going into the next level here, which is the Beacon Chapter 1. So this is a semi-auto scroller, but there's a few things we can do to speed up the otherwise auto scroller nature of it. The first thing we're going to do is start off by immediately going ahead of BT, and we want to reach a facility a little bit later on in the level. So we're going to take the specific routing to give us the most possible speed here. So we're going to start off by coming over, and all of these stalkers that are on the wall, we're going to try and hit their glowing red spots, which is their critical hit point. If we hit these, the stalkers will explode and deal AoE damage to nearby targets, which has the advantageous allowing us to not shoot one of those stalkers, and then once they're all dead, we immediately start to head back to where BT is going to end up at the end of his auto-scroller walking sequence. If we do this quickly enough, the game will suddenly despawn all the enemies, and we're going to get a piece of dialogue that says, there we go, threat neutralized, well done. So there's one last thing we have to do here. We have to wait for an additional piece of dialogue to start. This one right here. Oh, not quite. I think that's going to crash.
That should work.
Ooh, slightly not. Okay. So, yeah, so that caution, I detect traces of poisonous chemicals in the fog. If that line starts playing after we've embarked, the game will crash the menu.
Back in the day, we left that up to God. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, a small little thing here. We're going to set this flame trap. Once it's lit up, we're going to disembark. This causes BT to back away off of the platform he's supposed to be on, but he needs to be in that position he just warped to in order to progress the cutscene. And because the game detects that BT can no longer navigate to that spot, just like other Source games like Half-Life 2 where NPCs have to reach those locations, the game just immediately decides, okay, we're going to warp BT to the location, and that saves about like a second and a half at most. And now we're at the end of this level, so we're going to set up a pre-speed thing here to get to the end level trigger as fast as we possibly can. And then we're going to get into the most storied IL in the game, the most competitive IL in the game. Stay quiet there. Yeah, good pre-speed. Yeah. Stay quiet there for an audio cue. And yeah, now we're going to enter the Beacon Chapter 2.
This level is straight gas all the way through. It's so sick.
When I was coming up, we were fighting over sub 2. Now people are fighting for sub 130, but I'm gonna let Blaidan cook. Unlucky.
That is unlucky. We can salvage that. It's pretty easy to build up speed in this segment because there's just like a ton of walls right in this hallway. And with crouch kicks, you just get that speed back immediately, which is nice.
Yeah, so we're going to take use of all the different movement tech we've talked about here. Tap strafes, crouch kicks, wall kicks. We go a little bit forward there, and then we immediately turn around and def warp back to this location. We needed to hit a trigger there in order to progress the level that's required to prevent us from soft locking. And then we turn around and do that little gap jump, which is called a kill room skip, because it's just faster to do that. Now we come over, right up this fan over here, hit this button, right on down, and now we're going into a room where a Marvin, a little robot buddy, has a arc tool. We're just going to shoot him because the cutscene is too long and we don't like that. And we're going to pick up the arc tool, and now we're going to... Oh, that was a very good fan boost there. Excellently done. We're going to ride this fan up here. Try and ideally... Okay, we got God Mantle. Very good transition. We're going to go for movement through here to maintain as much speed as we can while the wind is pushing us back. A frag variant of heat sink skip. Extremely good. Go in there to hit a trigger, again, to prevent us from soft locking the level. Now we're going to attempt something new called Dark Slide.
Oh, baby!
Look at this speed. This is ridiculous. No time to explain that either. And we're transitioning into a Fast Fans variant. Unbelievable ending to this level.
Holy. I made...
The sub 140?
I was sub 140. It was also a gold for my splits. That's the fastest I've ever done it in a run. Wow.
Holy moly.
You guys are getting treated today, that's for sure.
Oh my
Dark
word.
Slide into a Fast Fans? That is ridiculous. I cannot believe you just pulled that off. Unbelievable, Blaidan. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're now into the Beacon Chapter 3, and if you've ever seen a Titanfall 2 speedrun before, this is probably the level you remember the most because of a funny little thing called Super Fastball. But since Super Fastball was found, that route has gone through a multitude of variations. So we had Super Fastball, then we had Super Fastball Deluxe, and now we have Hyper Fastball. So we'll get into that in a second. But For the first part of this level, we need to take the arc tool we have, and we need to power up the generator for the radar dish that sends out the signal, because what we're trying to do in lore is send out a signal to the militia fleet, like, hey, we need you guys to back us up here. Things went AWOL, and, you know, we don't have the manpower to stop the super weapon from going off, so... we need to go in there, and it says that, you know, the place is irradiated and you don't want to stay in there for too long, but at least on easy difficulty, you're basically immortal. You have a ridiculously high health regen during that section, so you can go in there, take like a 3-hour nap, come back, and you'll still be alive. No problem.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a single person die in there.
I don't think so. By the way, did we talk about Mandarin yet?
Yes, that's a good point.
Right, Fluffy?
Yeah. So you may have noticed that the spoken language in the game is not in English. It's in Mandarin. The reason for this is there's certain triggers to progress the game that are tied entirely to the spoken dialogue. And we found out through testing that Mandarin is 38 seconds faster than English. And 12 seconds of those 38 seconds is in this level specifically in Beacon Chapter 3. It is a significant amount of time saved from having the spoken language be in Mandarin over English. But now we're going to move on and do some setup for Hyper Fastball, as I mentioned earlier. So first things first, we have a loadout called Brute. Brute has a hover ability. Now, you're not supposed to be able to disembark while you are in that hover, but if you jam yourself in a specific space, like in the middle of this door, and use the hover, you can disembark while flying, which is unintended. This gives us a glitch known as Moon Boots, which reduces our gravity by 15% and is integral to the routing of Super Fastball and Hyper Fastball. The next part of this equation is BT is going to get us in his hand and try and go for a fastball special, aka he's going to throw us. So if we hold the space bar as this cutscene of BT throwing us ends, we will get a jump out of his hand the first frame possible, and that is the other half of the equation that allows us to go through this beautiful routing. So ladies and gentlemen, please sit back and enjoy Hyper Fastball.
This is really hard to do, so this might take a couple tries.
Good speed.
Here's the graph stars.
Okay. Pause champ. Pause champ.
One last little thing here. Gotta try and hit the trigger. So we're gonna look for.
Get the Marvin?
The Marvin is. I think the Marvin was there. Yeah, the Marvin's
we're
there.
good.
That's perfect. We hit the trigger. Yeah, that is Hyper Fastball, ladies and gentlemen. But we're not done yet.
In a marathon, but yeah, now we have something crazy coming up.
So a lot of these tricks that we've been talking about is just like, oh, wall run skip, heat sink skip. Welcome to Tesco Meal Deal. I hate the Zoomers in our community sometimes.
Don't forget to go.
Can't even begin how to explain why it's named that.
But anyway, we come over here, we hit this little platform, and then we use... Okay, didn't quite hit it, so we're going to go for a backup here. But the idea... What the heck?
Yeah, we can salvage this. Still dodge the trigger.
Platforms and source engine, everybody. Nice, yeah, that actually went way better than I thought that backup would need to go.
Yeah.
Might want to make a safety save.
Yep.
Yeah, so ideally that platform would have given us a lot of momentum and height to be able to clear the gap much more easily, but we still made it. And now we're going to... So what this did is allow us to hit these triggers in reverse order. So we use that frag boost, that grenade boost, to come back and hit this trigger that we skipped in the first place. And hitting these triggers out of order causes a script in this dome fight sequence that causes infinite spawns for about 45 seconds to not activate. This means that once all of the enemies in this sequence are dead, the dish fight sequence will end instantly. And that is the essence of Tesco Meal Deal, effectively, where you grab your meal deal and you leave the store, and then you realize, oh shoot, I forgot my milk, and you go back to the
that's the explanation. God, I hate this name. I always forget how to even explain it.
Blame Next Racer.
I blame everyone.
Is a grunt alive somewhere that I'm trying to find?
Yeah,
oh yeah, this dude over here.
Back in the day, we used to have strats like cylinder skip, fastball, super fastball, and now on top of Tesco Meal Deal, we got things called like snopdite, which is a word that's meant to be gibberish. There's also sex and sex 2, so don't even ask about it.
We don't call those ones that. Also, anyway,
those almost got called fart boosts.
Yeah, so we just did a thing, by the way, there where Blaidan climbed up to the top of this dish. That's like a skip that's like never talked about, but it's actually like really big. It's like a 45-second time save from the intended strat. It's not very hard to pull off, but like it's not talked about very often.
Yeah, probably because like that. I believe that was like a day one skip. Like people have been doing that like since the Stone Age.
Yeah. But yeah, BT catches us as we fall off the dish here, and we're going to head into the final part of the Beacon Chapter 3, which is going to be the Richter fight. So this is pretty much the first time that we've been forced to use BT for something for an extended period of time. There's been a couple things that we've had to do previously, but like not for an extended period of time. So this is the first thing that's going to force us to actually use BT. So here you go for Titan enjoyers. This is the Richter fight. So it starts off with 2 Reapers here that we're just going to melee down because the next wave of enemies, 3 more Reapers will spawn on a scripted timer. We're going to stand here and look in this position to spawn manip these Reapers to spawn in this location. We'll be doing this a lot throughout the rest of the run. Swip to Brute to take out that last one there. And then we're going to come over here. Again, look at a specific position. The next 2 Titans that come in are going to spawn in this position. We put down a flame wall behind them and stand over here to try and manipulate the back Titan to move forward. Look up while activating our flame shield to dupe the flame trap beneath us to duplicate the damage and kill them very quickly. And that's that part down. And now here is the Richter boss fight itself. And we also have a strategy to take this out very quickly. It's going to be followed up by a trick known as Elmo Clip, which I will explain why it's called that later. But here we go. The Richter boss fight will go in the specific way. We want him to instantly nuke eject at the end of this. So we throw an arc wave to shoot 2 shots, then we hit him 3 times with the sword cork, and then a 4th time with a regular melee hit. Shoot him once, and there we go, instant nuke eject. We swap to the Brute loadout, hover up here, disembark while flying once again, which clips us inside of this building. We wait for the elevator to move. Once the elevator moves, we disembark again, which clips us outside the building. Then BT warps into there, saving a second, and that trick is known as Elmo Clip, then named again after Next Racer, who is famous in our Discord for having a very
distressed elbow.
A distressed Elmo, yeah. There we go. That's the word I was looking
That works like pretty similarly to the elevator clip that we did in Beacon 1. Like BT's just not where he's supposed to be, so the game just teleports him there faster. And it saves like a second or something.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna go on a bathroom speedrun. I'm gonna try and get a sub-minute with might have to use hand wash skip, but I'll be
Oh, bathroom speedrun?
Alright.
We got speedruns in speedruns.
This is a good time to talk about Titans, and specifically the fact that this game's called Titanfall 2, and we've barely used the Titans. Previously, before we found crouch kicks, there was a lot of theoretical routes that we had a lot of speed we could do, but we couldn't consistently get that speed. So Titans used to be way more significantly used in the route in previous years, but after crouch kicks, those theoretical routes and then new routes are suddenly things that we can do, and we found so many different ways to skip. Nice! We found so many different ways to skip being in these Titans. So the most you're going to be seeing the Titan is this level here, the next level, Trial by Fire, and then pretty much right at the end of the Fold Weapon. So there are some people like myself who do miss, you know, those Titan sections because they're nice and relaxing, not really super intensive, a good break from the high energy pilot movements. But you've been watching the whole time. You can see how ridiculous the pilot movement is. The speedrun has basically only gotten better. It's only gotten more intense, high octane as a result of removing these Titan sections. So I've been talking about this, and now we're finally going to enter a point where we're going to enter an extended period of Titan and using our first Titan exclusive glitch, which is something known as Encore. Effectively, what Encore is going to do is allow us to use the ultimate ability of another Titan while and we use. Okay, gotta start that explanation over. We get to use the ultimate
of the trick.
We get to use the ultimate ability of another Titan loadout on one Titan loadout on another Titan loadout, and then that ultimate ability stays permanent, so basically it becomes our new primary weapon, and It's cool and awesome and great, and we're going to go into the next explanation. So we get the setup for Encore. We need to have 100% core. So we pull out the Ronin loadout, which has the sword block ability, reduces your damage taken by 75%. We set up in a specific way so that we disembark and re-embark, and we instantly have 100% core, and BT is still alive. So using sword block, we can now get up to this wall, which doesn't exist. We swap to the Brute loadout, swap to the Scorch loadout, immediately activate core, which causes us to have the Flight core while on the Scorch loadout, which gives us the effectively the Flight core becomes our new primary weapon, and we have the incredibly high AoE DPS of a Scorch through this section. So now we can take out the Titans in this section a lot easier. And this section is we have to kill a specific number of Titans before Sarah Briggs, the commander of the militia fleet, will give us a voice line that we're waiting for, which is specifically "Pilot, you're with me," or in Mandarin, and I'm going to butcher this, "Tihu Komalai." And once we hear that, there we go. We see it. The door that's right here opens up, and we can progress through. And now it turns into an escort quest. So there's an elevator at the end of the sequence that Sarah Briggs has to reach in order to progress through this level. And there's a way to skip it, but unfortunately, Sarah Briggs has to reach there, and the level just doesn't finish without it. So what we're going to do is kill as many enemies as we can through here, and do another strategy in a little bit. I'm running out of breath here. And we want to get Sarah to that elevator because it's super important that we get her to that elevator. We're going to now disembark and go outside the intended play area. Key thing here is not out of bounds. And this is called triggerless. This skips a trigger that would spawn in additional Titans. And while this is theoretically slower than just going through the level normally at this point, it is consistent. And that is the big thing. The reason why Encore is so good and why triggerless is so good is because it makes otherwise RNG sections way more consistent. So Sarah Briggs is there, and I believe,
incredible. Don't get it twisted, everybody. Sarah Briggs is the main antagonist of Titanfall 2. Somehow she took it easy on us, but yeah.
All right, so we didn't have the proper position to go for Knappet, so we're going to go for a different setup. We're going to try and get BT stuck in location here because we need BT to be stuck. Otherwise, BT has a high risk of dying, which will cause us to reload checkpoint. So we're going to come over here, hover in this position, and disembark. This gets BT stuck, and now we have access to Moon Boots. And this is one of the best movement sections in the game. This is Lone Wolf, and I'm going to let it speak for itself.
Any of these Titans could just one-shot me at any point, so it's super risky.
Oh, I need triple digits. Give me triple digits, Blade.
I'm gonna try.
Still doable, still doable, still doable. 93.
There we go.
That's 101.
This Tone needs to not snipe me. Okay.
102.
Beautiful. Yeah, so that strategy has become so high level over the time since we found it. We're not out of the woods just yet. We do need to hit the end level trigger here, but thankfully
sometimes you get sniped.
Yeah, thankfully we can just activate our cloak ability, which causes the Titans to not be able to see us, and we can hit the end level trigger, and that is Trial by Fire done and dusted.
Good stuff.
And after we come from that high octane, super fun, super cool level, we now enter the worst level in the game.
Yeah, have fun, everybody. Real quick, you're going to see Blaidan throw away a nade. It's going to give us 4 nades back after a little cutscene. Don't know why, it just does. But yeah, this is really like the filter between the top runners and the non-top runners, mainly because it's so difficult to like go this far in a run and then just have the jankiest level ever come out and just troll you. It's really hard on the mental aspect, and definitely when I was trying to grind and get to the top, it was soul crushing to just get killed by random glitches here.
So to explain like why everyone hates this level so much and why it's such like a looming threat when you have like a pacer, the whole gimmick of this level is like we have a bunch of ships that are like randomly swaying back and forth, and we need to be moving between them like quite a few times, and that can cause some issues because they're randomly moving. And if you remember from Abyss 2, moving platforms also mess with like our movement as well, and it can like just eat your double jump completely, and that's a really frustrating thing with this level.
And another thing, as we get introduced to Viper here, who is the perfect mix of anime, edge, and cool, is the first trick we're going to do here, Barker Skip. Doing this trick can cause the entire level to break in a myriad of ways that I can't even go over every single way this level can possibly break. The majority of them are super rare, mind you, but they can still happen. So Barker Skip is going to involve us doing a frag boost jump from one ship, the ship we're on, which is piloted by Barker, to a ship piloted by the mercenary group, the 6-4. So we're going to jump with a frag boost from this ship to that ship. And I'm going to let Blaidan focus here because we need an audio cue for this frag.
Yep. Here we go.
Oh, come on. The arc giveth and the
Yeah,
arc
I read that.
taketh.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful. So that is Barker Skip done. We come over to this side of the wing to try and prevent us from dying to a fall timer bug. Now this is 6-4 Skip, where we slide off of this and into the Malta here. And that is, the two big hurdles right out of the gate done. And now we're sort of at the mercy of the level at this point because now that we've done those 2 skips, things can break. But before then, we have a section that we need to go through here. So as we get to the top of this elevator, the game is going to tell us that it wants us to take out all 3 of these anti-air gun batteries on the side of the Malta. However, the game only checks to see if we've cleared the 3rd one here. So we're going to completely ignore the first 2. Go for a frag boost here. Decent boost.
Nice.
We're going to go for a wall kick, pull a frag. We're going to try and throw it at the gunner and the one guy standing beside the gunner. What didn't quite reach, so we're going to take these out with the Mastiff shotgun here.
Right, that's
very nicely done.
Not bad.
Yeah, and there it is. There's the audio line. So we want to look up at the 6-4 here because this is one of the first things when the way that the level can break. So if Draws comes down first here from the ship, Draws will go flying off into the distance and the level will soft lock. Very rare that it happens, but it does happen on occasion that Davis does not come down first.
I've been lucky enough to where it's like that's never happened to me, but I know eventually one day it's gonna come and I'm gonna kill a run.
I had a stretch of time where I lost like 15 runs in a row here for like 2 weeks straight, and I'm just traumatized.
So next up here is the hangar clear section. So we're going to take out all these runs and trying to find fire star grenades. We very specifically want fire stars because they are the best to
Nice.
Yeah. So the fire stars here are the best to deal with a wave of enemies that spawn a little bit later on here. So we're going to take out specific enemies here because the 6-4 mercenaries are going to join us in the hangar, and the 6-4 are scripted to take out a specific amount or number or specific enemies in question. I don't remember which. So we route through there in a specific way to take out all the enemies that we need to take care of, and then ideally, as we take care of all of ours, we're going to hear, I think, the room's clear.
There it is.
There we go.
Nice.
I think they had to take care of one enemy. Not bad.
Yeah, and now we have a little bit of RNG here, which is Gates. Gates has to get into a specific position before she begins her sequence.
Wow. It's pretty fast this time around.
She's cooperating.
Yeah, not bad. She has a script, like everyone else in the 6-4, they have a scripted movement sequence to reach for their point, and Gates can take the longest, can sometimes lose you up to 15 seconds in the absolute worst cases, but thankfully very cooperative here. This is a breach and clear section where the game expects you to join the 6-4 and taking out all of these enemies inside of the bridge here, but you don't actually have to take out all the enemies, you just need to get up to this module up here. And this is where this is where we pray in chat, ladies and gentlemen. So we stab our knife into this module, and now we have control of the ship. We're steering it with our knife. Don't worry about it. Plot convenience. But this is the
best stuff ever.
Yeah, so this is where things can get bad. So as we come out of this piloting sequence, there's a couple bad things that can happen that we don't want to happen.
Or sometimes the game just won't let you align the ships like we're getting right now. My favorite
I'm
part
aligned.
Yeah,
Come on.
It should be working. The game just doesn't want you to work.
I might ever die in
This jank is like
Okay,
every
that's how I worked.
Titanfall has like their own unique like superstition, and like sometimes they jump before getting to the terminal, or they do this and that. Just funny little things to like try and get them not killed. It's the illusion of choice, I guess.
Yeah, so we backed away from the window there because if we get close to BT's hand as he punches through, the game will crash the menu. But now we enter the Viper boss fight, and we're going to be doing a version of the Viper Zerg strategy where we use Snake Splitter. So we're going to start off with the North Star. We're going to shoot a shot into Viper, and then we're going to swap to Ion, shoot a laser, and then we're going to use a glitch that allows us to get the full damage of having these spread shots. It didn't quite reach.
There we go.
There we go.
That's nice.
Yeah, we get the full damage of this. We get a glitch that allows us to use the full damage of the spread shot that absolutely shreds Viper's HP. And then we use the Ronin Sword Core to take out those 2 Scorch Titans, finish the fight, and now we've done this so fast that as we enter this scripted cutscene sequence here, we are going to end up out of bounds. And we did this fight so fast, we can do an early, an early version of this trick we have to do here. So now that we're out of bounds, and the end of this cutscene, you will see in just a moment here, the background is going to go very cloudy. So what's happening is an invisible wall is now moving our way, and if we let that invisible wall push us, it will eventually kill us. So we're going to come on over to the right here, and what we're going to do is set up to, as the wall starts pushing us, we're going to immediately grab and mantle on this part here. Very good. As long as we get 2, we will clip through the invisible wall, and we are now safe. We're going to now need to kill Viper. We're starting the fire stars, and there we go. Viper is now dead, and once Viper is dead, we're in a 1 minute 55 second sequence that, as long as we are where we need to do at the specific time, the level will end in 1 minute 55 seconds. So yeah, that is the arc done and dusted, and thankfully no arc shenanigans today. Like, the myriad of things that can go wrong is ridiculous. The terminal that we stabbed the knife into, it has the possibility to crash the menu and then loop that crash to menu. It has the possibility to kill you because of the fall timer in this level bugging out. It has the possibility to kill you because of a ship coming out of, coming through the ship that you're on and causing you to get crushed by terrain. And that's just like some of the things that can go wrong in this level. There's probably like 20 to 30 things that can go wrong, and while the majority of them are super rare, that one is like way more common than the rest of them.
Being able to dodge all of them like that is pretty nice, so I'm glad it went that way.
Yeah, there's even mundane stuff like shooting your projectile weapons at Viper at the end just doesn't work because the ship is moving and is all weird from Barker skip, so you really can't take anything for granted here.
But yeah, now the Ark is in our possession. We're going to push it into BT and make our grand escape out of this ship that we are... It's currently, because of killing Viper on a consequence, it's blowing up. We're not actually going to make our escape here. So this is a decent time to talk about dialogue. Sometimes these dialogue prompts will appear at the bottom of the screen. Sometimes the best way to deal with them is to let them time out and not press them. Sometimes you press both, like in this particular instance. And sometimes you press a specific one of the 2 of them, because it depends in case to case, but sometimes pressing nothing is faster, pressing 1 is faster, pressing both is faster. But now we're going to enter into the final level of the game, and I started doing a thing on my streams whenever I would reach this level, and the Titanfall community became enthralled with it. They loved it a lot, so what I'm about to do here, it's for the fans, it's for the Titanfall community.
Sip some water.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah. All right, send it. Liskop problems are not my concern. Once you have delivered the Ark as per your contract, your payment will be transferred by the IMC. Just have my money ready. I'll get you your precious cargo, you useless nymph. Oi, Titan, you're gonna open up and give me what I want. Voice command, not recognized. Let me just rip it out of them. You can't risk it. The Ark's unstable. Listen, hero. You have what's mine, and I want it back. Go on, tell your Titan to open up. About what? His feelings? Still trying to be a hero, eh? I have a lot of dosh running on this contract, my friend. So tell your Titan, if he doesn't open up, I will shoot you in the head. Pilot in jeopardy. Ocular systems marginal. Cannot visually acquire a pilot. Ugh, stand him up. You see him now? Right here. Right here. Yeah? You see him now? Functions compromised by severe crash damage. I don't care how broken you are. I know deep down, something's still working there. Now open up. I'm going to shoot your pilot in the head. You still remember numbers, don't you? I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? Yeah, that's the problem with teams. If you don't win together, you die together.
There's going to be a brief flashing light warning here in a second. I'll tell you when it's over. Honestly, probably best that everyone looks away. This is pretty tragic.
Nice try, love. Say goodnight.
BT. Okay, flashing lights are over.
Get the Ark out of here! We're running out of time!
BT. Not BT,
right.
man.
So yeah,
07s.
Yeah.
I love to voice act that cutscene. It's one of my favorite things to do on my stream. And thank you, Blaidan, for giving me the opportunity to do that.
For sure.
Give it promote Fluffy chat. I love. You know what? It makes me realize I've been playing this game in Mandarin for so long that I have not heard the English voices in forever. So thank you for letting me experience the game like that again.
But yeah. So a little thing we did there is we backed away from BT there, which he has like a radius where if you back away from him too far, he will skip to the next part, his dialogue, quicker than usual. And now BT has ripped off his face, and he's giving us something called the Sear Kit, the Survive, Evade, Resist, Escape Kit. Blaidan, if you want to say what it is.
Yeah, so this is a small weapon kit that comes packed with a few things. We picked up a pistol there, that's called the Spark Pistol. It's literally just an aimbot pistol, it gives you hacks. This is an extra copy of our data knife. We're just going to no-clip that into our belt, even though we already have one. And this is BT's data core, which has like all his information on it. So if we ever call down a new Titan chassis, which we're going to do later, we can just insert that data core and then we create a new BT, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, this level really tests everything about your movement, especially because you don't have a double jump for a few seconds here. So it kind of brings everything that we've learned throughout the whole run together.
Yeah, so we started off briefly without a double jump, but we got back very quickly. And this level tests like your ability to do pilot movement indoors, outdoors. It tests your ability to do combat in a Titan very quickly. This is the ultimate level of the game, the final one. We're getting some tap straight out of the corner. Get caught a little bit.
That hallway is so tough, man.
It's so difficult.
Yeah, very, very difficult. So we're gonna get some wall kicks here, and we can build up like upwards of 80 kilometers here with really good kicks. We have 70, so that's very good. Tap straight through the opening of that door, jump on that so we can get the height we need to clear on top of this part of the building, jump off the pipes, go over top this building we're supposed to go through, and then call in an additional Titan that we can put BT's data core into. Now, we have to do this because there is a kill plane further beyond BT here that if we just skip BT entirely, the kill plane would eventually just kill us and we can't progress through the level. So this is required in order to progress through. But now we're going to go to one of the most difficult strategies in the game, which is known as Rocky Road. Thanks to some advancements here, we can now do this a lot safer than we used to. So we're going to move through this in a specific way to avoid some triggers to spawn in the enemy Titans. And now we're going to have to do some wall kicks and jumps in specific spots in order to pass through this gap. So that's good. That's enough to make it.
Kicks are so hard, so hard.
Yeah, there we go. And as we're on the pipes, that's the first part of Rocky Road done. Now we go for true triggerless. Same thing. We're going to avoid some triggers to spawn in Titans. This one is for pilot safety, where if you don't spawn in these Titans, we have to get through a gap in the top of the door here. Don't worry about it. It just doesn't exist. But if we spawn in Titans there, the Titans have a chance to just shoot us and kill us instantly, even on the easy difficulty. This little hallway here, if you get caught up for any reason, there's a good chance you just die because of all of the enemies in there, including rocket grunts. We take a small detour here to get the height we need to build up a lot of speed through this part of the hallway. We then transfer with some transfer some kicks and tap strafes into this trigger, which is the cutscene trigger for the final boss of the game. This will be a boss fight against Sloan. This is a 3-phase boss fight that we're going to use use our Titan for. And thankfully, whenever we hit this trigger, even if we hit this trigger as a pilot, we end up getting put inside of our Titan BT. So now we're going to start off the boss fight in a specific way. Each of these sections is planned on purpose. We swap to the Roan loadout, Arc Wave, 1, 2, 3, 4. Swap to Brute, wait for her to put down the shield. Fire until she disappears. Look over here to spawn manip these brutes. Same thing as before. We put down flame traps. Look up while her flame shield up to duplicate the damage. Kill them instantly. Now there's one entity left in the room. We're going to stand here and put down a flame wall, which spawn manip Sloan in this part. When she gets to 25% HP, she will then warp away again. We swap to Ronan, activate the sword core. 1, 2, 3. Take out all those Titans. And again, same thing here. We stand in the spot, look in the location, spawn manip Sloan here. We're going to put down another flame trap, duplicate the damage, put down, swap to Ronan, and Sloan is dead. Now we're going to activate Sword Core before we interact with this Arc Injector. Absolutely phenomenal Sloan fight there.
Yeah, that's pretty much perfect.
Yeah, so what we did just now is a thing called Andy Shot, and you'll see why it's called Andy Shot in a while. Well, actually, it's called Andy Shot because a Redditor called Shot Andy found it. I remember randomly, like, the day it happened, like, people were posting, I don't know, like, look at this thing on Reddit. And, like, you really gotta shout out all the random people that post their glitches to Reddit, because we saw what this guy did by being able to have his weapon here, and we were like, wait a second. And then we do, you'll see what we do in a second, but it saves us some time.
We are now folding our weapon.
Who up folding their weapon?
Yeah, so Bliss gets out of his Titan here, and whoop, he's dead.
There you go.
So we can kill Bliss in this cutscene because of this glitch. And thankfully, this does not soft lock the game. It doesn't crash the game. It doesn't do anything negative. It just skips 33 seconds worth of dialogue. So thanks to Reddit user Shot Andy, we call that trick the Andy Shot.
I hope Andy's doing well.
But there's another part of this that we're going to pay attention to. So on the left side of the Arc Injector here, you're going to see that the lights are lit up. These lights are not normally supposed to be lit up, but if we do the Sloan fight fast enough and we start pulling out the Arc Injector before the PA system says fold weapon priming sequence at 97%, that causes these lights in the Arc Injector to stay lit. And this skips 11 seconds of the lights lighting up at the end of this sequence, which allows us to be fired out of the Arc Injector immediately once we are done with this scripted moving section. Now, time is coming up at the end of this escape sequence here, and I just want to say this has been a phenomenal run, Blaidan. I have...
Yeah, for sure. You've been holding it down on commentaries super well. I gotta say that.
Thank you.
Another cool thing about this is that since we did Rocky Road earlier, it actually changes the soundtrack, the music that's playing here. It's actually just like more dramatic now, which is kind of sick. But here we go, final sequence.
And unfortunately, this is the most appropriate time to press F in the chat for BT.
Yeah, throw out your Fs, throw out your 07s, because our GOAT just saved the day.
Godspeed, you magnificent bastard.
Protocol 3, man.
But we are coming up to the ending again. Timing will be at the end of this escape sequence, I will call it. We start off with a wall run to get up to speed. We're going to wall kick here, try and get above 50. That's good. We're going to hit this trigger as low as we possibly can. Stand on this next rock, and we're going to try and air strafe up to 48 kilometers. That's good. We double jump immediately once we land. This allows us to do a slant boost. 85 kilometers into the next trigger. Time is coming up right at the end here.
There we go. And time.
Nice.
Oh my god. What was your time on your splits?
My in-game time was 1:16:50, which is super solid. Especially
oh
considering all like that flubbing I was doing at Abyss 3, just like retrying paths over and over. So that's super sick.
Skip for like 2 minutes. Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible time. That would have been a 1:14 for sure.
Yeah, I just want to throw out this guy had to redo a few strats, tried to go for pats like 3 times, and he's still like 3 minutes faster than me finishing this run. The unbelievable skill Blaidan is. He's like a cyborg, a legitimate cyborg when it comes to this game.
Yeah, I'm super happy with that run. So I guess we're gonna end it out now. If you guys have anything you want to mention before we hop off.
Yeah, I actually do have a big announcement on behalf of the community. As of now, we are offering a community bounty. The next 10 new runners to get a sub 120 will each get $50. That's $50 for 10 separate runners. join the Discord right now. Try and get a fast time. We will give you money. Please run the game. I love it so much.
We will literally bribe you to run Titanfall.
Shoutouts to everybody. Brianotto, Decept, Taskanos, everyone that's put in work to develop strats, find stuff. You're the goats. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, and I want to shout out the entire Titanfall 2 speedrun community. This has been a community that's given me a lot of smiles, a lot of happiness over the last 4 years at this point. And I want to shout out Brian Otto for cultivating and carrying the community for a good few first years of that. Still one of our big goats of the community, beloved by the community in a lot of ways. And this game, I'm just saying it. I'm saying it. This might be a controversial take to someone out there, but this is the best speed game of last decade, 100%. But yeah,
I gotta say,
if you want to find,
I agree.
If you want to find me, you can find me at twitch.tv/LordFluffy. I don't stream a whole lot currently, but I will try and get back into that at some point. And Titanfall 2 is a game I love to death. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, I guess I'll finish it out here. Titanfall 2 is like my favorite speed game of all time, and we're always looking for new runners to try it out. I think it's super sick when we grow the community and see new blood. It's awesome. So I guess to kind of persuade you, we do have the bounty. We have like a huge archive of resources that we've built up over the years, which is super helpful. I'm working on like a new tutorial series right now, which should be out later this year, which is awesome. But yeah, I guess aside from that, thank you to Ludwig and the production team for putting this on and giving us this opportunity to show off this game to a new audience. And I want to give a special shout out to Kronos, because I believe that he was the one pulling the strings behind the scene to get this run to actually happen here. So shout outs to Kronos. I love that guy.
Shout out to everybody.
Yeah. But yes, I guess that's gonna end it here for us. I'll see you guys in the next
Bye,
round.
chat. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.